Welcome to Our Darlingtown, the podcast where we explore the heart and soul of Darlington through its local independent businesses and the people that make it special. I'm James Carver.
I'm Henry Carver, and we're here to shine a spotlight on our beloved town. Join us as we sit down with the passionate local people to delve into their stories and uncover the unique contributions they make to our community and to find out about the town where we live.
Get ready to be inspired by the people and stories that make Darlington truly special.
Hello, on today's episode we have Michael Harvey, the market manager from the Darlington Indoor Market. James, what have we got coming up on today's episode?
Ghost stories, street food vendors,
Yep.
and exciting retail opportunities.
Absolutely, and events in the indoor market and why to visit the town.
Absolutely.
Joining us today is Michael Harvey, the market manager of Darlington Indoor Market. With a rich background in retail and brand strategy, Michael has been instrumental in revitalising the market's image and operations. His efforts have not only attracted new vendors, but also enhanced the experience for visitors. Michael's innovative approach to market managing has garnered attention in recent news, highlighting the market's transformation under his leadership. All right. Good morning, Michael.
Morning, you all right?
Very well. How are you?
Excellent, thank you, yeah.
Good. Right. Should we now do a fact check?
Yeah, we can do.
All right. So, market manager, what does that entail?
What doesn't it entail? It's a bit of a strange job, really. But at the core of it, I manage the indoor market and the tenancy in there. We have the outer markets, the weekly outdoor market, Monday, Friday and Saturday. We operate a couple of bars ourselves in there as well, as part of the food and beverage offering, and a couple of outdoor events as well. So we work quite closely with the events team, Alex Nicholson, and so yeah, we work with them in their outdoor events, and we do the food and drink festival, any sort of specialist markets, Christmas markets, but basically anything to do with markets, which is it's strange how you define a market, really. But essentially, it's just a pop-up of 6 or more small businesses. Yeah, that's it.
Great. And the sort of the indoor market's changed quite a lot over the last, 5-10 years, I would say.
Yeah, massively.
And
yeah.
how's that? What sort of happened to it? What have been the positive changes that have been made, and what have been the drawbacks?
It starts with a bit of a negative, really. I mean, high streets are struggling generally, but what we've done is to try and slow that down. Tenants were leaving, they were struggling to sort of repopulate it. So our initial move was to, so the company I work for is called Market Asset Management. I work on behalf of them. I'm local. We installed a food and drink street food hall, so to sort of stimulate the nighttime economy and get an audience in there that wouldn't typically use a market. Markets have typically been single-mindedly aimed at sort of low-income families, cheap meat and veg for families. But that style of shopping, in the advent of supermarkets and online shopping, it's slowly declining. So the businesses in the market were struggling. So what we do is we installed the street food hall and tried to get a different style of business in there, and that worked fantastically. Getting more people through the door and hopefully to sort of benefit these other businesses that are in there. Off the back of that, we've opened a couple of bars ourselves as well to sort of stimulate the income of the market and help maintain it. So we have the Market Tap, which is part of the street food hall, and the in the Vault, which is like a speakeasy under the market. And now it's the real tough nut to crack, which is stimulating retail in there again. It's finding businesses that are just a little bit different, which give you a reason to go out. Create this experience rather than just somewhere to go get your fruit and veg. Where you can get things which you can't get on the high street generally.
Yeah. And how are you getting on with retail? Have you got quite a few people trading from the market at the moment? You got some pitches vacant?
Yes, well, we've got a fair few vacant. If you've been in, you'll see that. But we've built these quite funky contemporary units, 4 different designs. With I want to stop fast of going into this. There's an architect who was working on it with us called Jonathan Thorns, and you can go down a rabbit hole with his sort of inspiration behind the designs. But basically, we've installed these structures and hope to attract these businesses. But we want everything from services, because people scoff the idea, not another Turkish barber in the town. But if you've got a really nice high-end barber in there, that's a kind of business which will just be full up of bookings. Yeah. So you've got this continuous footfall throughout the day, and all the businesses around it will benefit from that. We have populated some of them. So House of Moss came in, which is this really nice high-end florist. So she does everything from weddings, funerals, to just nice bouquets for pleasant occasions. We've had a few leave recently, unfortunately, which is just a sign of the times. But there was a really nice jewellery shop called Beaded Treasures, run by Ambica. So she left and she's migrated to the Cornmill. There's the Urban Deli as well, which was a fantastic business, and they've just left this last weekend, which is quite unfortunate. Again, just struggling to really kind of make it work for herself. But these are the type of businesses we want to attract, and we just need more at once. Once you've got this collective of a number of businesses working together,
Then
all
it's
of a
more of
sudden
a
there's draw.
destination rather than just going to one shop.
That's it, and what we're doing is we're pulling this ripcord, and when you get a few in one by one, they will struggle, but all of a sudden, if you can just get enough at once, you've got that destination and it will work.
Yeah. And how are the bars going? The Market Tap and the Vault?
Superbly. Well, the street food hall, that's fully populated. So we've got 6 exciting street food vendors in there, and then the Market Tap services that. We actually let Mate Baran, you've had on before, he opened the House of Breakfast with us. We took quite a collaborative approach to that. That's another bar at the front, but it's a distinctly different offering. It's quite stylised. And the Vault that was a pet project of mine when I first got there 2 years ago. But the idea was to create just something a little bit different for a semi-professional crowd. We've got a distinct split in bars in Darlington. You've got a really rough and ready party atmosphere on the bars along Tubwell and like the Boot and Shoe and Hole in the Wall, Pennyweight. Yeah. And at the other end of town, you've got places like Hash and Number 22, like all fantastic venues in their own right. But there didn't seem to be a middle ground. We wanted somewhere. Yeah, just to find that spot in the middle. You might finish your evening drinks at 22 and you go, want something a little bit more.
Go for a cocktail.
Yeah, cocktails, a bit more of a lively atmosphere, burlesque show, a bit of live jazz, that kind of thing. But they're doing really well and they seem to be quite well received. And the feedback I get when people walk in is, I feel like I'm walking into a bar in London, which is, whatever that means, it's it means they're getting a different experience.
Well, it's expensive. 10 quid a pint. No thanks.
That's cheap.
Absolutely. So how did you get into this specific role then?
I have no idea, actually. It just kind of landed on me. I was working. I used to work at Number 22 years ago, about 10 years ago. But I left to join the Navy, and then I came back and started running my own bar in Newcastle. And then after, just during COVID, it made things a little bit difficult. So I moved back and crawled back to 22 with my hands open. Yep. So I was working there for a year. But the then economic, I can't remember, he's called Mark Ladyman, but he was the director of economic growth for the town. He was one of our regulars there. And he said, there's a gap in the market coming up, quite literally. Do you fancy a shot at it? So I said, why not? And this was the company who were operating the market at the time. They were looking to open the Vault, so they wanted someone with a bit of bar experience. So that's what I brought to the table. And then I found myself in commercial letting and everything else in between.
Yeah, very good. Do you monitor footfall in any way? Like, is there a way of knowing if what you're doing there is working?
We've all the street food vendors are they're on like a, what do you call it? Like a turnover share, a revenue share sort of style, letting terms. Yeah. So we monitor their income. Yep. So that gives us a good idea of what's happening. So you can kind of split it up between food and beverage and see how much money is coming in the building, really. In terms of footfall counters, we get figures from the council, but they're just high street counters, so it's their best guess, really, of what's actually affecting the market. A lot of people walk past the market. A lot of people walk into the market just to use the toilets. But
quite a lot of students, when it's raining, eating the Greggs, which must be frustrating.
Yes,
to see.
Well, it can be. Traditionally, the market's been sort of seen as this public asset for so long, and I think that's part of the reason why it has been struggling. It gets abused in a way. We're used as a public toilet. We're used as shelter for whoever needs to sort of come in and get out of the rain. But a few people sort of use the independent businesses that are in there, and that puts a lot of strain on it because it's a big old Victorian building. It's very expensive to maintain. Yeah. And we just need people to use it. But the students, we did our best to tailor towards them. I spoke to all the vendors, and we put on various student offers to try and entice them. But you can't pull the Greggs out of the hands.
They've got to walk past 2 to get to
Well, yeah,
it.
exactly,
Yeah. Talk to us about events and what events you've had on so far this year, and what have you got planned?
Well, we've just had the Food and Drink Festival, which I think was a great success. It was the sun was shining. The weather turned a little bit inclement towards the end of the weekend, but we saw tens of thousands of people coming through, and it's just great to see the town alive again.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of small scale market events coming up. I'm not sure when this will go out, but tomorrow night we have. It's tonight, even it's Thursday, isn't it? I'm losing track of myself. We have Midsummer Night Market, so we're going to start trying to do like an outdoor market on an evening. So, aim towards people who are out and about after work or going for a drink. Because we have the market quiz on it every Thursday night as well. So there's a lot of natural footfall there anyway. So hopefully these vendors can benefit off that. We have the Big Birds Artisan Market on a Saturday, this Saturday, but again, it rotates monthly. That's organised by a third party, but they just occupy the indoor market, and there'll be 12 to 15 sort of makers and creators there.
Great.
And the farmers market as well, which we've been doing in collaboration with Hopetown. So we're delivering 4 events at Hopetown, which we've had one already, and several at Darlington Market, just on West Row.
Fantastic. Am I right in thinking originally there was plans to do another phase of the market, as in to build a big glass
Yeah.
sort of I don't know, conservatory type thing on the side?
I think that was the monorail sort of showcase. No, there was original plans for all sorts of weird and wonderful things, but not to use the B word, but we were hit by Brexit and COVID almost simultaneously, and material costs and just cost of production just went up massively. So those plans just had to be scaled down. It was sort of a salvage effort, really.
Yeah.
So those the temper garden isn't happening.
No. Okay.
The first phase was the street food hall. The second phase was the vault and the extension of the toilets and the shop units at the front, which became House of Bratwurst. And the third phase with these new contemporary retail units, which are all built now. But we're just in the process of occupying them.
Yeah. For someone that doesn't know Darlington, how would you explain the market? What is it? How do you define it?
It's just a hub of independent retail, food and beverage. It's you can go there for a light bite. There's plenty of room, so that you can come down in large groups. It's quite casual. You can, you're not sat down at a table with a menu in front of you. There's 6 food vendors to try. There's a massive independent businesses and sort of produce. There's David Jackson's Butchers, JJ Blair's Greengrocers. There's some incredible cafes as well. Catalin has he owns Number 8 Bakehouse on Post House Wine, Influence Cafe. He opened in Banco, Eat and Drink, just under the clock tower. It's a great brunch spot, and he's about to open on East Row at the rear of the market, Shape Patisserie and Bakery. And it's due open any day now. It looks incredible. It's
One to try.
Yeah, definitely. It's a strange concept. At the face of it, it's a patisserie and bakery, so it'll be baked goods every day. But he's into food education, so he'll be doing sourdough making classes, and it's sort of a bar as well. So on like a night time, you'll be able to have a glass of fizz, do a class on kneading dough, and then go back the next morning and pick up your groceries. Yeah. So to summarise it, it's just a place where you can get a wealth of experiences and do a shop and support startups.
And very family friendly as well as, you mentioned big groups of friends, and dog friendly as well.
Well, that's it. Yeah, we've come down on a Saturday and there's kids running around everywhere. It's parents with young families can come down, meet up, have a bite to eat, and not worry about the kids. We've got such a big space; you can keep an eye on them. Yeah. And they just run around like crazy because we've got so much space.
So you mentioned that there's been a couple of retailers leave recently, and is that just because you think that you need to get more people in quicker, as in more retailers in quicker, so that it's more of a destination?
I think that's it. It's just stimulating footfall. It's getting the message out there that there is something different happening. Yeah. There seems to be a lot of negative sentiment in the town, although I believe it's just a noisy minority. Everyone looks through it through rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia. Unfortunately, nostalgia doesn't really pay the bills. The message that I keep hearing is they kicked everyone out to gentrify it, and it's not really the case. It was failing, and we're trying to save it.
Yeah.
The businesses that have been leaving, they're a good quality product, but on their own, hidden away in this, from the outside, just looks like this Victorian shell. They're going to struggle to make the sales they need to make. So that's why it's up to us to put on these events like the Food and Drinking Festival and make awareness of what's going on in there to really get people in there. Market traders heavily rely on footfall, and they need to be a draw themselves. So they need to be an exciting business, and it needs to be a place where people gravitate to.
Yeah. So what would the benefit for someone who's looking to set up a business, or maybe they've got their own business at home, for example, and they're looking to take that next step? What would you say to them if they were thinking of, I don't know, renting a high street unit off Carver Commercial, or looking at the option of going to the market? What would you say the draw to the market?
The draw towards us is the interest of having this collective of independents selling things that are slightly different, of having that established street food hall tapped onto the side of it. You've got a steady stream of people coming through. The events that go on in and around the market. It's a really central spot. We do things a little bit differently in some quite exciting events. And again, just having that massive people selling things, which you just won't find in any other spot. Yeah. It's the experience. Within a Victorian building like this, you can create a really unique modern experience which will draw people there. Yeah. And for the right businesses, that they can benefit off that.
Fantastic. And am I right in thinking you've won an award recently?
I have, yes. Yeah.
Yes, fantastic. Tell us about that.
I was, so there's two bodies in the marketing world. There's NABMA and the NMTF. So NABMA look after almost like a union for market operators, and the NMTF, the National Market Traders Federation, they're a sort of a body that look after traders. But we have an annual conference, and they awarded me the Market Manager of the Year 2025. So that's voted for by traders. I'm not sure which traders were voting for me. I think it was Angie's Diner, I think, had put a nomination for myself.
Yeah. Brilliant.
But they're a great organisation, the NMTF. We get quite heavily involved. They have this scheme called the Young Traders Market. It's just about it's stimulating market traders, getting young people into it. Because as you can imagine, there's not many greengrocers and butchers coming up through the ranks. Yeah. But actually there are. They're just quite well hidden. And the NMTF really highlight this. So we host the Young Traders Markets and give. So a young trader, by definition, is someone between 16 and 30. But anyone can get involved. But we give them things like free pitches and just to give them a chance to sort of give it a go and encourage them early. I'm sorry, I'm going off piece now. You asked me to talk about my award, but we're actually hosting the regional final for the Young Traders Awards in Darlington this year, the regional final. So it's we hosted sort of a local heat about 3 weeks ago, and on the 19th of July, we have the regional final for the North East. So every young trader in the North East will be trading in Darlington across Blackwell Gate, and then winners that'll be judged, and the winners will go off to Stratford on Avon for the finals. It sounds like, if you're not into markets, it just sounds like nothing, but it's quite a big deal within this quite niche industry.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Tell us about ghost stories. I've seen your social media.
There's all sorts of ghost stories, isn't there? I think Chris Lloyd's the best person to speak to about them.
Got to buy his book though, haven't you?
Yes, yeah. I'm not that into it. I've never spotted anything. But it is a spooky place. When you're locking that building up on a night time, it's quite petrifying. There's the market you see, but below. So the vault's part of this sort of maze under the market, but there's all sorts of spooky corridors down there. And it's essentially mostly storage now, but it's got a history of being used as for jail cells. For the fire brigade was using it at one point. There's something about it being used for rationing, like as a rationing store during the war as well. There was like a banana ripening room or something like that. Really? But along with all that, there's a massive ghost stories. Chris Lloyd talks about one. I'll fudge it if he watches this. I'll probably rubbished it up. But I think it was on the first week of trading. They were having a cattle market, and a bull fell through the roof of the market and crushed a fella in the basement level. Yeah. So apparently he roams around. There's a woman who roams around the cellar rooms who you'll only see half her body because of the difference in levels since the market's been built upon. I'm sure. I've been trying to stimulate a bit of interest in that, and I've been approached by a few sort of paranormal investigators who want to have a look around, and we'll be doing something like that eventually. It's just while we're transitioning between these sort of regeneration phases.
There you go, ghost tours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to clear out a bit of it's a mess down there. I don't want to add any more ghosts to the Darlington Market.
Brilliant. And what would you say has been the main challenge over the course of the last few years, and also what's the biggest opportunity ahead for the market?
The biggest challenge is letting people know what's going on. I mean, social media is a wonderful tool. We've got a good following, but whenever we put events on, I keep hearing, we had no idea this was going on in here, and I don't know how to get to those people. And we have stuff in the papers, we have posters, we're online. So that's the biggest challenge, is just telling people there's something positive happening in here, and it's for the good, and we're not just kicking people out and trying to rinse it for every penny it's got. You know, there's really some creative people behind this, trying to make something great out of nothing. Yeah. So it's getting that message out there.
You should go on a podcast.
Yeah, that might help.
Absolutely. And then biggest sort of opportunity ahead?
The sky's the limit, really. It's just having the vision for what this market could be. I spend a lot of time visiting other venues around the country. Obviously, it's a big city syndrome. The minute you start talking about these ideas, everyone goes, "Oh, we're not Manchester, we're not Liverpool, we're not London." Be aspirational. I think Darlington could be like that. Once we fill those retail units up with some exciting businesses, and you have these really cool bars and food vendors popping off, just what an experience it can be. There's a real gold mine there. It's going to be something special when we crack it.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff.
Fingers crossed it's not too far away.
No, we're just around the corner. We're just it's at that tipping point now. Look, we've had great success in the cafes and the food and beverage, and as I say, from the noisy minority, you hear, it's just a food hall now. It's not. There's plenty of other market activity going on there, but that's the thing that people do come down for. Yeah. So you got to make it work. I think the important thing is just getting some use out of this iconic building in the town.
Yeah. No, absolutely right. Anything else from yourself?
No,
we've covered a lot. Yeah, thank you very much indeed.
No, thanks for having me.
And we'll look forward to seeing what the market brings in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
And long may it continue.
Come down and see it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.